With 30 years of Doom being around here, Doom has just recently gotten a huge update as they just added in a brand new campaign mode. Well, just the episode to be specific. Sigil 2 for like modern systems, or just a free mod that you guys can get on PC to play. As that was made by John Romero himself. And for Quake, let's talk about Quake real quick, because this also has been considered to be part of the update for Doom's 30th anniversary, because Quake 1 gotten a mod that you can now play the entire Doom 1 on the game, which is pretty nuts. A portal for Doom 1 on Quake. You can even play with the original monsters from Doom, or just Quake monsters, or a mixed bag of both. So this gives you something to play. I actually decided to review both 1 and 2 of Doom because they mainly play identical, but with new weapons and enemies and levels to mess around with. When Doom came out in 1993, like, it popularized first-person shooting. It wasn't the first-person shooting. So it wasn't like the first first-person shooter. I'm trying to say it right so y'all don't kill me or anything. Or at the time it was the first Doom clone, as people mostly called it back in the day before first-person shooting was the official birth name to this whole genre. The first first-person shooter was actually Wolfenstein, made by id Software. They ended up making Doom sometime after that, and that's when the whole population happened. This is actually one of the few Super Nintendo games to have an M-rated title on there, and a red cartridge. What makes the Super Nintendo version stand out was that they had a Super FX chip, but in terms of the Sega Genesis, it had like the worst music, but better graphics. So it's like, you want the best graphics, terrible music, you want the terrible music but best graphics thing. But it just ended up getting ported so many different systems, you can't even name it anymore. It was even brought to the Unity engine in the recent years with mod support, or they call it add-ons, but they're really mods from user-created fans. I think that's just like if the Bethesda chooses it or something like that, and it's all here and then. You mainly shoot a bunch of demons, and then you go to the next level. Here and it's simple. There's these key cards you need to collect in order to progress, which you have to do so yourself. But in terms of like everything, I think you guys have fun playing both these games. But I managed to beat Doom 2 under the modded, Brutal Doom to be exact. But we would get some expansions and additional episodes for these games, like Sigil 1 and 2, like that came out, but that's not even like an official expansion, but John Romero made them himself. Doom 2 would actually get the master levels for Doom 2, and then later No Rest for the Living as part of the Xbox 360 version, but then they ended up bringing that to elsewhere. So that's another thing I can say, but that one was made by Nerve Software, but oh well, at least they did something just to make it worth purchasing Doom 2 on the 360. But they took down the 360 version in favor of the Xbox One version. I mean, look, you still have your original content there, here and then, but for add-ons, you know? Look, if you guys want these add-ons, if you guys are a part of the home console portions, well, you need a Bethesda account, unfortunately, for Doom 1, 2, and Quake. But hey, what can I say? They're free at least. They don't take long to download. I mean, they don't have like a necessary update to the game or whatever. So it's pretty much hard to tell whether if there will be a new add-on included or not. That's kind of like my takeaway on that. Because even though I want to play these add-ons on my systems, I can't tell if they're adding in new ones or not, because of lack of updates. They just put it in there without any updates required, which is great, but how are you guys going to know if they're available? Only if you read the news articles, of course. I'm still glad they're still adding in some new content for you guys to play around. It just makes modding just have replay value. I mean, these games, for example, like Half-Life, Doom, Left 4 Dead 2, I mean, you name it. And even though this is a Doom game, there was one mod out there that I have seen that doesn't even look like a Doom mod. It looks like a complete different game. Like, this doesn't even look like it's Doom at all. Even though it's a Doom WOD game, it does not look like Doom. Which is really has to be one of the most technically impressive mods that you probably would see out there. I mean, people can say whatever they want about Doom, like, sure, it's one of the first first-person shooting games, but it's not the first first-person shooting game to ever come out. It's still popular somehow, even though it is a 1993 game. People still go back, play it, mod it, just have their own creativity. There was even like a mod where I haven't played a Doom game, but it has a Mario spin into it, which I think is actually funny, but somehow it works. I even have it as my wallpaper as a desktop. I mean, let's be honest, the wallpaper came free, so can't really say nothing bad about that. But it's cool to see something like this happen. I mean, there's plenty of mods, including one I've heard recently. I thought I heard it years ago, but it's called Doom Infinite. All it does is like what you play is random generated levels, and I guess I can give that one a try at some point, and maybe I'll talk about that once I get a chance. If you guys like multiplayer, there was also some co-op and deathmatch modes you guys could even play too, up to like 4 players or even more out there too. So this gives you plenty of reasons as to why you should play Doom, or at least just any Doom game entirely. Like I'm not gonna really sit here and cover the entire Doom saga as of yet, but maybe one day I'll get there. There's also Final Doom, which I should mention real quick. All of this is like, it's a compilation of like other like levels you guys can play, but from what I've played, they are pretty harder than the original ones, which is also on PS1. The 2 expansion levels are part of the Unity port that they did. And I'm just gonna say right here, like, I'll just give you my quick thoughts on Sigil 2 since we're at it. From what I've played, it's a little bit more easier than the first game. I don't think it's a bad thing, because when I first played Sigil 1, I get they were challenging. They were being more challenging in terms of like levels and enemies, but it was lacking ammo for me, so it's like you can't just sit here and give me Doom with lower ammo. I mean, look, I get you're trying to do something different. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, if you have to make sure you execute it pretty well. I mean, preserving ammo, I mean, that's not a bad thing. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, if there is some sort of challenge to it, I mean, cool. I mean, like Resident Evil, for example, like you have to always preserve ammo because ammo's so scarce, and I just beat Amnesia the Bunker. That had to deal with like preserving ammo. But I don't think any of these mods are bad. I mean, if they're the worst ones I've probably never heard, or maybe I've heard, I wouldn't play with it. But if it wasn't for this game, we wouldn't get like the improved version of this game called Brutal Doom, which I've already talked about, and this was like one of the first 2 review videos I've ever done, to be quite honest. And here I am talking about Doom again, except it's its anniversary. But yeah, Sigil 2 is here, and you could play the entirety of Doom 1 on Quake. You probably would never thought it would happen, become an official mod that was selected, but it makes sense because of this game too. We even got some metal remixes, which will have become part of the mods to let you play with the soundtrack, which I think playing this game with metal music is really what was truly meant to be, because I think that's what the MIDI soundtracks was trying to do at that time. I'll cover Doom 64 at some point, but here's what I'll say. Doom 64 is not Doom 1. Let me get that out of the way for you guys, alright? Doom 64 is an entire different game. It is also on the modern systems, and it does have some new content to it. If you guys are new to Doom or not, then you guys should definitely play this game, because this game has a huge modding community, and it still never dies out. Even if you are playing a home console, once in a while you may get an add-on. I don't even know when they do these things or how they choose these things, but normally they'll usually be there every once then. But unless you want a gaming PC, you should definitely get that for more modding accessibilities. Especially if you're going to play on GC Doom, which is really where the piece of cake is going to be at where it comes to modding. And I've actually played some of these mods during some of my videos I've done in the past. like the Golden Souls, which is kind of like, it's like Doom crossover Mario, which I thought was pretty fun to play. There's like 2 of them in the series, but it was fun, which has their own spins on these things. And there's plenty of like other ones, like there's this Castlevania plus Doom. Everything just seems to work with these things. Has its own music, its own elements, whatever. So if you guys want to play this, you can. You can always use any WAD you want or whatever, or at least it has to be like a specific one. Brutal Doom is one of the ones out there you guys should definitely play. It improves everything. You can look up and down, whatever. You can jump. You can do fatalities and all of that. And there's also Project Brutality, which is kind of similar to it. But you'll see. I hope you'll be having fun slaying some demons and whatnot.